Hello, hello, it's Katie Onyekere, Aura Alchemist, soul alignment guide, metaphysical advisor, here to talk about the files, something I was in avoidance of until I couldn't be in avoidance of it anymore in terms of how it serves you. And yeah, I'm going to offer some medicine. I'm going to talk about it from the lens that we always do, from the metaphysical. We are not going to tell you what to do. This is not a political guilt party. This is not a shaming party. This is not a confusing hysteria for discernment and righteousness. We are going to sit as souls having the human experience, trying to understand things from the metaphysical lens, trying to receive the medicine and hold the space for ourselves, for our family, and how to best move through the world with the most power possible, and how to use this, like everything else, on how to apply it to ourselves, for the world, not for ourselves against the world or instead of the world. So, give a few people to get on here. I'm going to tag a few people, and we'll get into it. Oh boy, I need to change that comment. Give people a minute to join. So, hopefully people do join. I like it when people are present. But we'll see. All right. Just tagging people who have said they want to be tagged, and then we'll get right into it. Hey, we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna find the magic together. Just remembering who else wanted to be tagged. I'm just going to tag one more person for good measure. She didn't ask, but it seemed like she wanted in on this. Okay. Let's get into it. As usual, we're going to talk about this, but we're not really going to talk about this, but we're going to talk about the truth behind this and what your place is in it. So a few different statements that came that we're going to talk about is in terms of the gifts and what's ours. And the biggest word that came in is no more complacency. We're going to bring this to a personal level. No more complacency. No more outsourcing. No more numbing. No more avoidance. And we're going to get into what that means. This is not about purpose versus duty. This is about remembering that purpose is your duty and you are the steward of your purpose. And we're going to remind you what that is. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Ray. So, I want to, I don't know, make this simple. Because I'm seeing a few different things. I've been seeing a few different things. All of them understandable. All of them are fine. I'm just going to talk about them. I mean, they're understandable and they're fine. Any reaction you're having is fine, and it's okay. And it's reasonable and understanding. If you're shocked and overwhelmed, that's understandable. If you're angry, that's understandable. If it feels like nothing new and nothing's changed, that's understandable. These are understandable stances to have. If you feel like you're already on your purpose and this changes nothing, that's understandable. If you feel like you're already on your purpose, but you feel a little guilty for that, and this is bringing up the fragments in your consciousness that have not yet been aligned with your devotion to purpose and your trust and your certainty behind it as being worthy enough for the world. If there are fragments of you that have not left behind the inner savior that wants to save people, and if you came from a community, and a lot of people who left religion and have been seeking spirituality and have been in some way spiritual homeless, probably went through particular spiritual communities that made them feel like it was their job to care about everything, everywhere, everyone, all at once, all of the time. And that is actually against your divine design. So we're not here to escape the human experience and pretend like it's not here and it's our job to just avoid it and pretend like we're not part of the world. It's our job to remember and anchor deeper into how we are part of the world in true spiritual form, where energy happens first. And energy is what's creating reality. And it's what's creating your reality. So we don't abandon that. We either accept that in its wholeness. We can't be part-time. We can't pick and choose when we're creators and when we're victims, and when universal law applies and when it doesn't, and when God has power and when it doesn't. What domain in your life have you not handed over and under God or source? We are okay with the word God. We've taken that back to ourselves. No outer organization owns that word or idea. We are not referring to a man in the sky. We are referring to the I am, which was only personified a few centuries ago, by the way. Hello. And so we always like to go slow to anchor you in and start at the beginning so we can get ourselves in a shared language and a shared space of understanding, and so that we can walk deeper and go deeper, not wider, and make sure we're not listening for instant understanding and listening for what we think we know and don't know, but we're opening ourselves to be available for when understanding comes upon us, because we are ready and willing to seek truth and revelation. And we are not automatically rejecting what we think does and doesn't apply to us. We are asking where and how it applies to us for power, purpose, impact, responsibility, service, growth, evolution, love, freedom, breakthroughs, peace, fulfillment, connection, healing, whatever matters to you. So we have to get really started at the beginning. I want to make sure that I'm talking to souls who understand that they came here to have a human experience. And they understand that we're in a world that creates inverted and backwards. So when we remember, and when we woke up and we remembered, because awakening is step one. Awakening is I have awoken to the world that I have been unconsciously creating. The world that I chose to manifest into at this time, in this place, in this body, with this bloodline, and these parents whom I chose to upload this programming and this template that I chose to inherit as I came here to inherit the earth and do my part to make it better. And so as we explore the difference between purpose and public responsibility and what it truly means to be responsible, and then from that lens, look at complacency, in the way that the world is operating right now, the shadows aren't new. The evils aren't new. What is new is our disconnection from the circle of life. That's what's new. Nothing else is new. We will say that the covertness is new, meaning these shadows operating in as much covertness as they have is new. The awareness is new. The shadows are not new. You know, one of the things that made me realize that I did need to speak on this as well is I kind of forget that it's my job to live in shadows. I observe, I'm always a student of shadows. And so at this time, at this point in my evolution, it's very easy to see somebody not as light despite shadow, or themselves despite shadow, but always encompassing both, which isn't a form of permission, isn't a form of lacking responsibility, isn't a form of bypassing myself, not a form of toxic empathy and sympathy that doesn't hold somebody else higher to their standards, just a form of acknowledgement and acceptance of what is, regardless of what I think should be and what I would like things to be. It just so happens that I live in a place where the shadows are not so hidden. They're not different than the country that I come from. They are just not so hidden. I don't want to get this live muted or lowered by sharing particular details of things that are normal in the society that I live in and next to me and that happen all around me. But they're here and they happen. Neither extreme is true, meaning neither extreme of seeing the USA is great and these other countries are terrible is true, and then whitewashing this country because you hate America and you need everything else to be good is true. Neither is true. Both have shadows. Everything has a burden. Everything has a blessing. Everything has a cost. You can choose to hear the word cost and burden and take that to mean something bad and put a weight on your shoulder, or you can explore the bucket, the basket, and see what meaning we've put in there and project it onto that and explore. Burden doesn't have to be bad. Neither does cost. So, I'm sitting in a room of souls who understand that they're having a human experience and that they came here on purpose in this body, at this time, in this when, at this moment, as creators, creating their reality. That's the room I'm speaking to, right? That's my followers, right? That's what I've been standing for many years. That is always the lens we're speaking from. Even when we comment for something happen in the 3D, it is still in alignment with that. So, back to this world. This world has never been less disconnected from itself and from the circle of life. I want to talk about just the mundane. We are literally constantly interrupting our relationship and signal, physiologically so, with the sun, with the moon. And I always find this very fascinating because the people who tout the most living under the stars and astrological whatever and human design and all these other things, they will pay attention to every cycle except the sun and the moon being an unacceptance that they are an actual light being, not pseudoscience, not sort of, not ideally, not by some metaphor, not because it sounds good on an Instagram quote. You are a light being. You need light, you need the earth, you need fresh air, you need your survival, and not just your survival, but your longevity, your vitality, and your health depends on connection. The number one cause of physiological deterioration in the world today is disconnection. And that shows up everywhere. From being disconnected with what you're consuming, disconnected with what you're listening to, disconnecting with who's influencing you, disconnected with who you choose as your counsel, disconnected from your own shadows, from your own motives, from your own awareness, from your own avoidance, from your own coping, from your own procrastination, from your own debt of action, from your own personal responsibility, from your own evolutionary growth, from holding yourself to the highest standard, and foregoing and complaining and looking at the world, and you can't even commit to a 30-minute meditation. You haven't helped your neighbor in a year. You don't know who your neighbor is. You're too tired to make a difference. You're too tired for your purpose. You're too inconvenienced to actually devote to any type of sacrifice to change your life. I'm only talking to some of you, not all of you, but we'll be talking to all layers and all pieces here. Where and how does it apply? I'm going to block you is what I'm going to do. I'm busy. I'm channeling here. Put some respect on it. And so on the personal invitation, and it might feel like we're skipping, we'll go backwards. The deepest invitation is to realize that we can't keep outsourcing integrity. We can't keep outsourcing honor. Excuse me. While I block. We can't keep outsourcing integrity. We can't keep outsourcing honor. We can't keep outsourcing wisdom and leadership. Now, what do I mean by that? In our ignorance, and this does not mean, please, we're going to make this specific. We are not talking about going and becoming informed about everything. In fact, we're very against that. And yet, stay with us here. We cannot expect the government to parent us. We have put the position, and I am not talking politically. I am talking at the highest level of energy dynamics. And I am talking for you to look at the energetics of what you are expecting, what you are outsourcing while saying you want sovereignty. We can't keep outsourcing every part of our lives, being disconnected from it, lacking knowledge, wisdom, agency, sovereignty, responsibility. We can't keep doing that in every area of our lives. The cost is getting higher and higher for that. We are now entering an era where, because everything is seen, and because it is law that once we know better, we cannot go back, how this does change things is, how are you going to live differently now that you know better? How are you going to learn differently? Which is why we talked about and entitled this in relation to avoidance, overwhelm, escapism, and numbing. Very understandable responses. Absolutely very understandable and convenient responses. And this world has been set up to keep you so tired that it has fooled you into thinking that you can change your life by putting everything that will change your life last, and on top of everything that is exhausting you. Because you're so busy keeping everything that is exhausting you alive, because yes, it is uncomfortable and requires sacrifice to take these parts of your life back. There is a cost for you to be present and knowledgeable and discerning with anything that you take in, with any piece of information, with anything that you engage with. Which might mean not necessarily trying to become an expert in everything. It might mean accepting what you don't know. In fact, it becomes even more pivotal that instead of you being in constant confusion and indecision and doubt about what is yours to know, that you become even more in alignment with God and do exactly what God has you doing every day, so that you never have to guess. If you were so consistently plugged in to your path of alignment and purpose as a state of being and evolution, if you were so plugged into your path of alignment as the path of surrender towards the reordering of your reality that will actualize your dreams and vision and turn you into the person that is a match for that purpose, vision, impact, and just the things that you want in your life, there would be no doubt in what is yours to know, what is yours to be knowledgeable about, and what is yours to pay attention to. So this is not, I was doing what God told me to do, but then this other thing happened and now I'm going to make myself wrong, and then I'm going to abandon myself. So I'll review a few of the things that I said in the post already, but I'm going to say it here and just channel whatever else comes up, and if I need to do a part 2, I might, and if you have any questions, you can ask. But your first purpose is to be yourself, and that means to become yourself. That means to break up with any programming that is stopping you from being yourself. Which means that until you embark on the path of soul development and breaking up with the societal programming, the collective programming, the family programming, the cultural programming, the religious programming, the good girl programming, all of those things, if you haven't done that type of self-identity work, then you're not really yourself. You're a collection of what's been uploaded into you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your habits, your motives aren't really yours until you have done that work. And it's the work that you came here to do. And your first responsibility as a human, that you're alive, the very first thing that you are divinely designed to be a steward of is yourself. That is your purpose. That is your first duty. Everything must come on top of that, not instead of that. And that doesn't mean sit on your couch and then eventually after you get to purpose, then you'll, maybe someday sort of get to purpose. It doesn't mean that. All right, I wrote some talking points down, but we're already going in circles, and I'd rather channel than talking points. I'm not really good at this. Okay, I'm not good at talking points. That is great at channeling. We've talked about this a lot. In fact, we have a whole video on ignorance. But ignorance is by divine design. It is law that once you know better, you cannot go back. And it is law that you are not supposed to know everything. So even before what we care about, there is law and divine design about what we are supposed to know about. Which is why scrolling on media over pointless things and getting lost on dummy rabbit holes, quote unquote, for fun is not actually something that I recommend. And I definitely don't recommend it if you feel exhausted with a debt of action towards purpose that you don't have enough energy for while spending hours a day on that other shit. The sad truth is that human sacrifice has existed in some way, shape, or form in the vast majority of cultures since the beginning of time. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make what's going on right now okay. It doesn't make the covertness okay. But that is the truth. The difference is the awareness. The difference is the lies. But really the bottom line is the only difference right now is the awareness and the revolution, the exposure of what's been hidden. The exposure of what's been hidden, not the revelation that it exists. So, our actions are only righteous if they restore order. So again, I'm always going to take it to the personal lens for you to take in with yourself. So we're just going to say some statements. We're going to speak some truths. Get step in this magic with us and see where it applies, right? For something to be truly righteous, instead of practicing righteous indignation and calling it wise, on a personal level, for my action to be righteous, am I confident and am I sure that this action is about restoring order? In this day and age where we have confused saying something for doing something, before I open my mouth, is what I'm opening my mouth to say righteous in the way that it is set to restore order? And who does it need to restore order for? First, in my reality, because that's the only reality that I can create and speak into. I'm going to do that first before I do it for the world. There are so many people whose divine design and position in this life is to be a warrior. And there are so many types of warriors. Unless God tapped you on the shoulder sometime in the last few weeks to say this is your time, this is your space of leadership. Not, I have a channeled message because I went and looked at, because we all can channel, right? I call myself a channel because it's simpler to say. And a lot of people mean something different when they say that they are that. Like, I am that. I'll be it till I die. It's not something I can shut off. It only increases. It happens in my dreams. It happens on the street. It's always happening. It's there. It's just an I am for me. And it may be for other people who say that and it just looks different. And for some people, everybody has the capacity to channel. Everybody has the capacity to pick up telepathic static. Everything has the capacity to call something in and stream it. Is that what's yours to do? Is this what's yours to say? One of my favorite prayers that I love returning to is, what is mine to know today? What is mine to see today? What is mine to hear today? What is mine to say today? What is mine to know? What is mine to see? What is mine to hear? Today, just for today. What is mine to say? %100% of the time, if we can sit and be still enough, whatever comes out is going to be righteous and in alignment with what we need to reorder our reality, in alignment with our purpose, which is what we are the steward of, because nobody else can fulfill our purpose but us. We were given to it as our very first and divine assignment. I do want to say right now that I think that you should be careful. None of us are above the human experience and the way that the human is designed and works. And right now we're being subtly trained with our brain. It's not natural to go from outrage to laughter to funny to jokes to something terrible to something sensationalizing to something to pain. It is causing us, it is training us. We're training ourselves to be desensitized just from the way we flip through information and flip through these extremes. We are all subtly being affected by it. We are sensitizing ourselves. It's getting muddy. It's almost like we're losing a skill set, and that skill set is to be sensitive to and responsive to one thing in its place, in its time, in its order. So how do you know when to prioritize family over the collective? Your family is the part of the collective that you are responsible and the steward of. There is no greater seduction than being told to abandon your family for the sake of righteous outrage. To do what? Obviously, this doesn't apply to you if you've been given actual tangible actions to do and give, because that was what you are feeling anointed to do, and that is what is yours to do. And only you know if that is yours. Those truths might sound so simple, and yet, and I watch this with many of my students over and over, because there's a difference between what we believe and what we know. If what we knew was enough, we would all have private islands and be rich and millionaires. Knowledge is not enough. It is not knowledge that creates reality. It is not conceptual understanding. It is when we aligning our knowing with our belief and we move into conviction about a thing. And it is when we go from understanding or knowing a concept to be true to believing and living it. So, what is devotion telling you to do, and where is devotion taking you? Where is devotion guiding your eyes, your heart, your hands, your actions? One of the reasons that we are in this place is because we are disconnected from ourselves, our essence, the truth of who we are, the truth of reality, the truth of purpose, the truth of actualization, the truth of our manifestation power, the truth of the God power that we are all ordained by, the truth that we are God, the true truths that Jesus Christ was really teaching before it was distorted and inverted and used it from a place of control, because he was in alignment with every other ancient system and teacher in truth. There is nothing more important than breaking up with this societal programming in order to align with your blueprint to actualizing your purpose, because that is the thing that was given to you to contribute to the world. That is your piece for the world. That is your piece of change. There is no separation between that and what is yours to do. That is your public responsibility. That is your social responsibility. That is your lineage responsibility. That is your soul calling. It's you. It's all the same thing. There is no separation. There is no conflict. It is not that fear is anti-God. It's that fear doesn't lead. That's not the purpose of fear or the function. Everything has a time, place, context, and function. Fear's function is not to be bled out like a signal. I do not have to abandon myself to be a good person. I do not have to abandon my calling to be a good person. I don't have to abandon my purpose to be a good person. I don't have to abandon my family. I don't have to abandon my purpose. I don't have to abandon my children. I don't have to abandon myself. I had posted about a dream a few weeks ago, and I posted as much as I was allowed to post about some of my dreams. I have dreams all the time. It's just not mine to share, because not everything is meant to be shared. And I got told very strongly to make sure that I didn't consume any social media around very specific events right before they happened. And the reason why it is a bad idea, and I talked about this in the post, is to engage with the consumption of these things, especially during these times when emotion is high, and again, without being so arrogant to think that we're suddenly going to be unhuman and apart from how the human is designed. The amount of emotional hijacking and opportunistic energy that exists in between and gets broadcasted as part of the signal to be consumed during these times at this rate in this way, it's a very dangerous thing to consume and look at and stare at. And stare at with what and how and for what purpose. That doesn't mean ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. It means stay on your purpose. And trust that that's enough. If you choose not to engage with this, let it not be because you are hiding, but because this is a wake-up call to be on your purpose. This is how you make, okay? This is, what meaning can we create about this together? How can we create as much change as possible from this? How am I going to let this change me? How am I going to let this wake me up? How am I going to let this call me forward? How am I going to be a better tribe member, a better steward, a better leader, a better action taker, a better inquirer, a better discerner, a better sovereign agent, making my own decisions, not outsourcing them to outside groups, people, and things, and then being disappointed at the outcome. Because once we know better, we can't go back, and because this stuff is public, what that also means is that even in our personal lives, we are going to be held responsible for that which is available and that which we are being willfully ignorant of. That doesn't mean go get caught up in left, right, political, whatever. It means that we can't pretend that we didn't know when somebody misled us. We can't keep letting the same things and people lead our decisions and inform on our personal lives and participating in giving energy for that, giving our conscious attention and energy towards that to be harvested, and then being surprised that it's being used against us. Now that we know that that's what's going on. We can't keep reading lies, hoping for truth, and then being shocked that we're being lied to. This isn't political, what I'm saying, and the fact that I have to keep saying that is really wild. Because everything is a lie. most of the articles I've seen about the files, while there are tons of true ones, have been a lie on the internet. I'm in Mexico, where the cartel leader was taken out yesterday morning. And the reason it took me so long to sort through stuff, among just answering concerned people, which I appreciated, was the fact checking, which made me remember about the fact that a bunch of people who follow me asked me to create a group chat just to be a filter for news for them, because they were so overwhelmed and they were so grateful that I knew how to just whatever, thanks to being my father's daughter and the way that I ask questions and can go, and how good I am at research and finding context for stuff, just asked me to be a filter and sort through. So I did, because I was just like, yeah, while I'm finding stuff for myself, I'll send it out. And if something crazy and hysterical comes, and it's not true, I'll come and correct it, because I went and got the true context. And that's what I had to do yesterday. And it was so telling that I had to do that. It was so timely, among other things that I saw, which I knew was not an accident, because there are no accidents. That within hours of an event, the amount of misinformation, fake AI footage, fake hysteria, irresponsible sharing of misinformation, judgment and arguing, which I'm sure half was bots at this point, the amount of people who said that they went to TikTok to get news and were just literally taking that as actual information within local groups here was wild. There were reports of cars here that were never on fire. There was reports of an airport bombing that never happened. There were reports of, gunfire at the airport. Then there was reports of a bombing. Then there was reports of closures of this airport. None of it was true. And yet it got shared. I must have seen it get shared 40 to 100 times within an hour in all the local groups. Well, it's understandable you haven't heard of the cartel. I'm in Mexico. It has made, international news. But a big leader was taken out yesterday in Guadalajara. So everybody had to shelter in place in 2 cities that I'm not near. That cartel isn't on this side of the Mexico. Mexico is very big. So that was happening on the west side and in Guadalajara. It was not happening anywhere near where I am. We did all shelter in place here just to be safe. I mean, not like by order, but just, everybody went home. Everybody went home and stayed home just for good measure. But we're fine. But it was very interesting because at the time that it happened, I was reading about a crazy bust and operation that was happening in the USA in Miami. And, I was doing other stuff. And then I look and I get a blurb. It was earlier in the day. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Earlier in the day, I'd seen something about Miami. I go back to read it after I get off some meetings. And then I see I'm getting messages from people in GDL who had to shelter in place because they were told by their friends not to go outside because of fires, etc. Everything is stabilizing now. And yes, this is a bigger deal than usual. While cartel activity isn't abnormal, this was a very big, widely coordinated military operation. So it is a big deal. It will go down in history, actually. It's the biggest one since, I guess, another one in like 2014. El Chapo? Don't quote me on that. Point being, I'm reading about the shadows in another country, and everybody messaged me about the shadows in mine. From their place of assumed safety, they reached out with concern for me. I wasn't reading shadows with any concern for anybody. Just doing what I do, just being fascinated. With no thought for the sad, sad world and just being an acceptance of what is. So, it is not what you do in this world, it is how you do it. So the energy of why you do something is what is dictated in how you create it. So, when you are not reading the news and stuff, are you in avoidance? Are you trying to protect yourself from something that wants to be confronted? Are you hiding from something? Or are you choosing purpose? Are you choosing to be responsible? Are you choosing the debt of actions? Are you choosing your alignment? Are you choosing your own character? Are you choosing your deliberate future? Are you going to go make yourself better and therefore your family better and then your community better? Are you going to go put your hands on somebody's life that you can change? Because you can't put your hands on this. I mean, I'm not being helpless. Like, what do you got you got a 2,000 step plans, and with who and what? So on top of what we have already said, and I know we said we were going to talk about overwhelm, and this might sound really callous, but the answer to overwhelm is really easy. Stop focusing on shit that isn't yours to do and get busy with what is yours to do. Do you know what creates overwhelm? A debt of action and a lack of presence. The two biggest things that create overwhelm is a debt of action and a lack of presence. The two biggest things that create overwhelm is a debt of action and a lack of presence. In this world where even my safety is a privilege that I have taken for granted, I will make my safety matter, and I will do everything I can with it. And I will not take it for granted. I will spend my safety on purpose and building and contribution. That's what I'll do. I will spend my purpose 100xing everything that I do and getting every drip and every drop out of this lifetime. And for me, every drip and every drop is not going on a safari and taking pictures. It's making a fucking difference. It is bringing families back home to each other. It is bringing people back home to their essence and their selves. It is helping people fall in love with their divine design and trust it as altogether lovely and good and whole and full of purpose and value and sovereign choice and magic and God. Do not let your attention be harvested by outside powers. Do not outsource your attention and lend it towards somebody else's agenda while yours is starving. You are your first responsibility. You are what you are the steward of. You are the best contribution you could possibly make to the world and the planet. And when you do the work that change you, because when you change, everything changes. And here's what's funny about the paradox of that. When you change realities. And when you change reality. So listen carefully. When you change realities. And when you change reality. Get what I'm saying? One more time. When you change, everything changes, right? Why? Because when you change, everything changes. Because when you change reality. And when you change realities. You shift into other dimensions. You shift into other timelines that you are a better match of. And both are true. That is the paradox of everything being true and nothing being true. It is yes and nothing and neither. That is the paradox. That is the mystery and the tension in between. So when I change, I reorder my reality. And when I change, I flip realities. It is law. Both are true. I am also disempowered when I abandon my jurisdiction. So I also don't even have the power of influence when I'm operating in self-abandonment in order to do so. I should have made better notes. There is already a war in your lineage and your bloodline. There is already a fight to break free of generational curses, generational limitations, generational patterns that you inherited on behalf of your blood, your people, your ancestors, your soul tribe. Self-sourced, audacious leaders creating their reality on their terms, connecting God with on their terms, building tribe on their terms is the most powerful medicine to what is happening today, where convenience is the God and government is the parent, and people and kids don't belong to families anymore. Your job is to explore your own cowardice, not point out the cowardice of others. So if this doesn't change how you live, how you operate, how you move, how you speak, then you're right. It's for nothing. But for yourself in your own life, not to get seduced into fighting somebody else's bullshit. If your purpose never costs you comfort, it's probably not your purpose. Thank you. I love it, but I'm busting out of it because I've gained 20 pounds despite the ridiculous amount that I am working out. I'm not happy, but I know it's going to all work out. It's all going to work out, guys. Right? And by the way, I do think that there's a way to forfeit your right to be alive in this life. I read that recently, and I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. So I am in support of the accountability for those that it's their position to hold them accountable, that it's their purpose to, their position and their purpose to. I am in support of that, to be clear. I don't think that really should be a surprise by any of you here. As I say often, I am love and savage, not love and light. I am old age, not new age. I am not, the world is free of consequences. I'm not that at all. If you're out of integrity with your purpose, and you're out of integrity in anything else that you would try to do in the world. You know, I lend to actually make people that I know and can touch feel safer, more powerful, make different decisions. I just wanted to hold a little space, say the simple things in order that it may be received. Give you some peace and comfort for those who have some fragments of guilt, meaning a lot of you know this to be true, but you've been a little seduced by the parts of you that have been hijacked by social responsibility and what is yours to do, and you should play a part, and it's the good person programming. That's why it's so important to break up with it, because it is the thing that will turn you into a good little boy and girl for everybody but yourself. And it will keep you chasing social approval until you die. And it will steal your life force away from your family, away from your purpose, away from your legacy, away from your manifestations, away from your dreams, away from your vision, away from what you're building 100% of the time. All right, I scrolled through my notes, but I actually tried to keep it simple because I really don't want to get into anything that would really distract from the very simple truth, because that's the point of this. This is so seductive, right? This is a very seductive thing that can take you on a whole trip of a lot of heavy, philosophical, complicated. This is not complicated. If this is your purpose, then by all means dwell on it. If it is not your purpose, then you are out of alignment. Anything out and away from purpose is out of alignment. And I could get into the complex bloobity blah, and I could turn my scholarly hat on, and I could break into the laws and may in my private spaces where we actually explore those things for the dorks that actually want to. Where we have oodles of time to do so. But why? I got so much stuff to do. I literally have more things to do already with what's already been given to me than the time that I probably have in this lifetime to do it. That's how much I have to do. I'm busy. Yes, I am having fun with this pink, and how much pinker it gets every time I apply it to my lips. I think I liked it better lighter, though. So there's a difference between staying on your purpose and being complacent, avoidant, silent, and just because you're on your purpose doesn't mean you're giving these things permission, right? I'm not obstructing justice. I'm just on my purpose. And just because I'm not rah-rahing on the internet, okay, so even if you were to be seduced by this idea that there's something you're supposed to say, what? What are you supposed to say where, and what's it going to do? Walk that out. Tell me what it is that your outrage and your expression and saying it's not okay, what does that do? Walk it out for me. Where else does that go? Do you really think there's somebody around you that's okay with this? Really? Do you think just because they didn't say something, they're like, yeah, ritual sacrifice and human trafficking is real cool? I hope this live doesn't get put down. I don't get marked down for saying these words. I might have to take this one down and put it on YouTube with the quickness. I'm happy with my skin tonight. I really do want you to, more often and as often as possible, every day, before you get caught on wild goose chases, all the way down to the reels you're watching, ask God what God would have you do, know, see, hear, and say today. And I know that I see a lot of people relax. It's not that serious. It's no big deal. And then you're tired at the end of the month. And here's the thing, is I literally read people's energy for a living. I read people's subconscious for a living. As an Aura Alchemist, I can actually hear people's subconscious when I speak to them. In session. It's in my work. I'm working with women for 11 years. And they'll stand on what they have time for while telling me exactly why they're exhausted and what they don't have time for and why they're overwhelmed, why they feel behind, no matter how successful they are. And they always have energy for things that we tell them not to do. And I'm talking about some of my best masterful people. In fact, sometimes they're the worst because they are so good at doing so many things because their capacity is so big. They don't recognize when they need to take a beat, and they'll insist that all these things are okay, and then all of a sudden they'll hit a wall later and they're out of energy and they're shocked and they're like, oh God, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I don't have enough energy towards purpose. Compartmentalizing all the different ways that every decision you make and every choice you make does in fact accumulate and add up. So if your energy was like a limited spending account every month, and you're out of energy every month, ladies, it should be very easy for you to think about in terms of your cycle, and you run out of energy at day 22, day 23, you're exhausted and you're dragging the last week of your cycle every month, something's happening in your limited expenditure account. Because if you're out of energy, but you have a huge debt of action every month that you don't feel like you can rest from, and that's a perpetual cycle for you, then there's some incongruence and there's some awareness that you need to make in where your energy is going, that you're running out of energy every cycle. And that you're running on E at the end of every cycle. Which is different than needing to rest. It's still okay to need to rest and to have that time to rest. That's different than what we're talking about. All right, well, I'm surprised so many people saw this live, considering that my account is probably still going to be a little sad. So without getting too into it, my account was suspended not for language or anything, but because of the way AI is operating. So I do know a few people that have lost their account completely. Their account got suspended for a few months. So I've been saying I'm going to get off of Facebook, and I'm looking at where I've been complacent in my own life, by the way. And that is one of them, because I've been on here for 11, 12 years. And frankly, I've just been lazy and I've had a lot to do. So me and my OBM we've at least been repurposing stuff on YouTube. We're on YouTube. I couldn't even message people for a while. So even when I was on here, I had to be very careful because any little thing locked my account because they kept thinking that I was getting hacked. No, a check mark wouldn't have helped because this is all run by AI. So a check mark wouldn't have prevented my account from getting locked because it was automatic. It was a bunch of AI triggers. And no, it's not because I live such a different life, though it didn't help after I got flagged. It is the new world. Like I said, I know somebody that lost her account of 10 years. I know somebody that was suspended for 90 days. Again, this wasn't some action that they could take. It wasn't because there was an actual hack. It was because AI thought that they were being hacked. So all that to say, I could lose my account at any moment. I almost did 17 times. My account disappeared. Now it's suppressed, I'll get it back, it's fine. As you guys know, I tried to start a new Facebook account a while back. It wouldn't let me do AI, wouldn't let me do that. That didn't have anything to do with other than AI. So I truly am migrating off of here because I have to. And it's not the same space. I'm hanging on to something that doesn't even, there we go. So yeah, it's not even the same place. I'm back. It's changed so much. So, you know, my plan is to message every single person and get the word out. I do have an email list now you can go to my link in the page or just DM me and I'll send you the link. I will be set up in the next few months. It's not going to be instant, but I could genuinely lose my account at any moment. I think I'm out of the woods, and I hope it doesn't happen again. But yeah, speaking of complacency, I've been saying I'm going to migrate out of here for a long time. God's been, my account got locked out to the day that I had to start this account because Facebook banned my last account while I was going viral, and I had done all this work and blah, 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 right? So, and then I started this one and said, I'm going to get off Facebook in a year. And so I'm grateful that I'm being forced to innovate and being forced out of my complacency because I knew this was coming. I knew I needed to make these changes. Facebook isn't even the same place anymore. It takes so much work and mental capacity and gymnastics, while I do know this platform very well, just to make sure I don't, like even just right now, like this, I'm probably going to take this video down like tomorrow so that I don't get flagged for some of the words that I used, because of just how I have to worry about things on here and just the things that, I've gotten suppressed for saying the word comment. I've gotten confused, accused of being a bot. It's just, and no, I don't think it's any kind of conspiracy where I'm being thwarted. It's just literally AI. And yes, AI is programmed by a woke monster and part of it, but it's just the lack of user functionality on this app. And the way that it's changed makes it hard to connect. Like in a place where I can't see the people I follow and people that follow me can't see me, that's crazy. I'm following people because that's what I want to see. And I want to see stuff I'm not following. I am on Substack. So YouTube and Substack, I don't know if I said Substack before, but YouTube and Substack are the main ones that I'm moving to. So in the next 30 to 60 days, I'll be on Substack. I said I'd be on it in November, but I'm like, okay, let me do one thing at a time here, or 3 or 5 things at a time. So at least right now, you can watch my videos, any videos and lives I do here, and some of my lives from earlier this year are being put on YouTube. You can find all that in my link. You can reach out to me. You can DM me. I'm also doing tarot sessions and one-on-one sessions for the month of March. The Soul Alignment Institute is also open for self-mastery for men and women. So if you're interested in approaching soul development and self-mastery and sacred audacity towards purpose with me as your guide, and you feel guided to me, let's have a conversation about it. All these things are going on. I think I'll love Substack. I really have no doubt. I'm going to start a little subscription on there. So I am getting on Substack. I've truly learned, I've talked about this a few times, especially with my students. They've truly learned the discipline of slow with all my health issues this last year. And while my health issues are gone, I've learned between that and losing my best friend, I have learned the value of slowing down to speed up at a whole other level. As much as I successfully teach clients how to simplify, and I execute with no blah 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 blah, whatever I used to be proud of about the way that I knew how to do whatever in big capacity without burnout, I have truly slowed down to put things in order. So all that to say, I'm going in order. And things are getting done because of it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys are learning, but that's what's happening with me. So yeah, I'll probably be, Substack in the next 60 days, YouTube now. Once I get like 100 followers even on Substack, I think I have like 20 and I just did like 2 posts once, and I mentioned it a few times. I'll probably migrate over there. So follow me other places if you want to keep in touch. I'm thinking about making like whatever version of a Facebook group is on something else. I don't know if the Substack membership will serve like that. It's from my understanding, it's not yet, but I did love Substack the moment I got on it. I love that I can do an audio or a live or a picture or not. It seems like I can be the old artistic self that I used to be. One thing I always loved about Facebook is, at least it used to be, that I could keep in touch with family. It was best for personal connection and conversations. It used to be great for hosting mentorships, classes, private spaces. And what I used to like about it is that you don't have to think to post. But that's not really true anymore. I have to think so much to post, just to avoid getting this and that and whatever. Because I used to love it because, there was no character limit and hashtags and photos, and you could do 1 sentence and a bajillion sentences. And now it's like, it's so unnecessarily complicated. So, God is asking me to innovate and has been, and I'm like, okay, I got it. You're right. You're right. I've not been obedient in this regard. And all you're doing is inviting me to a place that's more easier, more easiest. So yeah. Anywho, reach out. My goal with March is I want to have 100 conversations in the month of March. So I want to see if I can do that. Meaningful conversations and connection with purpose. So if you want to, if it's been a while, you want to get a tarot reading from me. I've been reading tarot for 11 years. Nobody reads tarot like me. Nobody channels like me. There's so good channeled tarot session with me, and you want to dive deep. Reach out. I've got 5 left of those. I might do more since with March I wanna meet more of you guys. I'm kind of back out from a long year of going slow from health and other reasons, and I'm back. My health is back. We out here in the streets. My calendar is open. Okay, and on that note, literally I will probably be asleep in 45 minutes. Yeah, reach out for a tarot session. I think I shared one of the posts in the group, but I might have forgotten to tag it. Because I was like, I know probably one of y'all want a tarot reading. But yeah, if you want a tarot reading, Ray, let's go. Let's have some tarot fun. Man, you guys, I started off in tarot. It's also, I realized with Facebook, I'm like, wow, a lot of people that follow me now I just like forget that people don't know. No, I tried to teach tarot class. So I had a tarot membership for a year. And everybody took the class, and at the end I wanted to turn it into a course. And then everybody said, never teach this without you, ever, that joined that class. Because I'm not good at bite-sized things. I'm not a bite-sized person. My lives is the best I can do, and it takes me a lot of discipline to like chill out and like not go into like crazy directions and just like go off and keep things like simple and focused. And definitely with classes, which some of my students can attest, even when I make things simple and deliver a fraction of what I'm planning to deliver, it is a lot in the best way. And I've come a long way. So yeah, anyways, I think about this a lot. It makes me giggle because I love tarot, and someday I want to do a tarot like apprenticeship. So I have like a plan for a deep dive tarot course where we explore the archetype of starting with the major arcana, but it is like university level, scholarly level, like those who want a PhD in tarot. I've tried to think about ways that feels good to me to do bite size, and it's just one of those things that if I can't elevate it and if I can't do it the way that is special to me, then I don't want to do it. So that means that I need enough people that would be interested, and it would be an investment. So it needs to be enough people to join for it to be worth it for me to do it, and then it would still need to be investment for those that would really want to be people who like really want to go into the symbolism, the occult, the personal application of it, treating it like a living archetype, really being present with it. But the thing that what I realized and learned, which is why the tarot program that I tried to do took so long, we never got past 2 cards in a year. And this was supposed to be like little light, monthly, whatever. That was the goal, right? But just like with anything else, you never know what's going to be needed until you're in the space and you see the gaps between like what you have and what somebody needs to be able to apply it. And what it ended up being, what I discovered, is the difference is inquiry. It's something I'm very, very good at. I'm very good at helping you form the most righteous, relevant, powerful question now that will get you to the root of all things. And so what I realized in that course, what we realized together, because what took them a long time was understanding the art of inquiry. Was with a tarot reading, not only do you need to understand the art of inquiry, but then you need to know how to apply that inquiry and go into the archetype before you project onto the archetype. Then you need to be very good at context and relationship within the field of inquiry, and only applying things within the context of that inquiry in relationship to each other in order to come to a clear outcome or conclusion. And because each archetype in tarot has light and shadow, it's a living archetype. So it changes and it morphs and it has its own flaws and it has its own application. So just like people have shadows and patterns and inform on each other, so do two cards in tarot. And then not only in tarot, but tarot assigns positions, right? So if you go something with basic past, present, and future, sure. But take something like the Celtic Cross or any of the custom readings. So I have a custom spread that I made a long time ago, and it's related to the 4 directions, the 4 elements, or the 5 elements rather, and the 4 bodies, and it's in alignment with whole sign tropical astrology and the 4 corners of houses. So we even deal with aspects in the reading, right? So there's layers and layers and layers. I mean, it's on hours. That's not the one I was trying to teach. Don't worry. I wasn't trying to teach that to somebody else. But you see how when you slow down and go deeper, not wider, just how deep you can get if you care about precision, which I didn't realize how much I did until I started trying to teach them. Tarot is truly something that I love, and there are so many tarot courses out there. So for me, I'm like, not only do I want to do it in the way that I love in order for people to love it, and not only do I care about the integrity of inquiry, which is why I've realized, right, because I've taken that level of inquiry everywhere I go. It's why I'm good at helping people address their own consciousness. It's why I'm good at helping you see your own patterns and shadows. Right, it's applied everywhere. But before I realized that was why I was so good with tarot and why I had such a connection with it, right, was one of the things that helped introduce me to my gifts, my specific gifts. Because, yeah, there's plenty of tarot cards out there that can talk to you about the different, courses. And there's amazing, there are amazing people who have their own love affair with tarot. And that's what's so wonderful and vast about the ways that you can approach tarot. I love it. It's one of those things you could study for a lifetime, and I'm definitely a student of the soul. But what I've realized is that I love divination, because divination is a system of inquiry. Whether it's bones, I Ching, tea leaves, astrology is a ritual form of divination. So it's something that's casted with intention, right, for us to encode and enter into and be inside of and interface and be in relationship with. That's why I studied astrology for 3 years as well. And why I really someday, just for fun, I don't know when, maybe 5 years from now at this rate, with everything else I have going on, maybe sooner, maybe 3, I want to do horary astrology. So horary astrology is literally like classic divination. So you ask a question and then you pull the chart of the moment you ask the question. And then there's ways to read the charts depending on if you're looking for something, is it an inner question? And then you can use the chart to find your answers. So I want to do that someday. Unfortunately, I didn't keep up my skills as an astrologer, so like I could never competently read somebody's birth chart at the standard that I would want to. Like I know enough to know, like it's still a helpful and worthy skill to do, because I was trained in whole sign astrology by somebody who was trained by Robert Smith, and he was one of the people that originally translated Greek text, like true Greek text, into astrology, because that didn't actually get done until like within the last 13 years. The guy that did it, his name's Robert Smith, and he did pass away, unfortunately. So that's that's the avenue I was trained by. So yeah, I still know it enough to be informed by it, but I didn't keep up with it enough to feel like I could literally charge for birth chart readings. I'd have to take a refresher course, but it's okay. I got what I needed from it. A random dork conversation. Keep me on here for an extra 10 minutes to talk about tarot for another 2 hours. Tarot truly is an art form to me. Like I love it. It's like something to dance in. It's really is like it's living, but I have such a relationship with archetypes as well. I create archetypes, I channel activations for archetypes for my students. So I'm good at like stages and archetypes and grids, but that's also my gift. So I channel blueprints and processes as well. That's like my zone. So even if I'm working with you on like a reading, I usually channel specific meditations for people, activations, sermons, prayers. I think we all do a little of that, right? But everybody has their zone, you know, within their God keys, even if they're a channel or whatever. And that's mine. Okay, and with that, I love you all. I hope this was giving exactly what it needed. It slowed down a lot more than I expected. I thought I was going to go into a lot more, but I think that that was good. Sometimes I'm just called to hold the energy of a thing and say it, let it be a transmission and frequency and beyond words. So I hope that that's what this did for you. And should you have any questions or insight, or you just want to have a conversation with me or connect, let's do it. Let's get on the books. My calendar is open. This is a great opportunity to get in on the ground floor, the Soul Alignment Institute for Self-Mastery and Sacred Audacity as well. So whether you want a tarot reading, a one-on-one session, or you want to apply for mentorship, let's just talk and see how I can help you. Mwah!